Hi, everyone. Welcome again to another installment of Know Your Troc, where we are giving you the opportunity to know a little bit more about our current roster of dancers. Because we realize you get to see them perform in full regalia, but you don't necessarily know much about them other than their stage persona. Um, However, with the person that we're going to get to the chance to talk to today, who's sitting right here, he actually needs no introduction. So you probably know him very well. Um, Bobby has been with us for close to 25 years right now. So even though I'm trying to keep the interviews short with Bobby, it may go longer than what we've done. And that will be a blessing because we want to hear everything he has to say. So I'm going to fire up the first question so he can just tell everybody about himself. Bobby, for our viewers,
Hello, everyone.
why don't you tell us a little bit of where you're from and what was your training prior to coming to the Troc?
All right. I am from the southeastern United States, from Charleston, South Carolina. And I began training ballet when I was 7.5. I My mother truly originally wanted a singer because I sing a little bit, but dance took my heart when I saw it. And I was with a little children's theatrical group singing at a festival. And my now former dance teacher, bless his late soul, saw me and sent for my mother in the crowd to ask her, "Do you want your, your son has a lot of talent. I think he could go far and do something, but would you like some ballet training to go along with his voice?"
Wow.
And my mother thought about it, and she'd never really thought about it because she'd never seen ballet live. She, of course, knew of the Nutcracker, like everyone. It's generic, either that or Swan Lake. But and she said to me, it was a deal. It wasn't, there was no. She said, "I just want you to try it, and if you don't like it, then we can figure out something else."
Mm-hmm.
So I went for my first class, and I could not wait to come back. And so it's been my life ever since.
At 7.5, she suggested you tried it and you were like, sure, and then you loved it.
Yeah, that's it. I couldn't. Yeah.
So then
It,
how did you, from that, in your younger years as a teenager, how did you first hear about the Trocs to the point where you auditioned for the company?
well, of course, being when I started dance, of course, my home family, the Robert Ivy Ballet at the time, we all were like literally a family, and I was kind of like the impish little brother, the bratty brother. I'm sure a lot of them, if they're watching, or would definitely agree.
Brilliant.
Um, but I was very fortunate. I had a loving environment, so but I started doing messing around with point shoes because I was fascinated with them. Even though I got chided, only girls dance on point.
Yeah.
But because I had cute chubby cheeks and I could flash my big brown eyes at them, I'd beg some of the girls, yeah, can I have your shoes instead of throwing them out if you don't want them anymore? So I'd kind of keep them hidden and pull them out and run and play in an empty studio until I got busted one day by my dance teacher. And I thought I was going to be in trouble. But he said, "Well, if that's what you want to do, then get your button point class." So I was already taking, basically, I lived at the studio. So every day after school, my school that I attended was not far. I would just walk to the studio, do homework, get dressed, and have my afternoon ballet class. And then my mom would come pick me up later in the evening. So that was every day. And I had 3 point classes a week included on top of my regular schedule.
And
But
was Robert as your teacher the person that so then he was a pioneer by suggesting that you would take class on point, because
yeah. Well, I think it was more of the goal of he believed in my talent,
mm-hmm.
and he wanted to not stigmatize something. He wanted me to stay interested in it because he saw what I guess not many
Do.
other people would have saw at that time. And there are no accidents in the universe. I'm a spiritual person, so it was meant for our souls to cross paths and for that exchange of information to happen in order to facilitate me to get where I am today.
And was he the person that actually put the trucks in your radar, or did you find the company
Yeah,
and your?
well, of course, all of the girls
No.
and some of the older girls, constantly chattered about it because it was so controversial but funny. And my dance teacher, of course, got a group of everyone together because I think the Chalks were performing somewhere in either Columbia or Greenville, somewhere upstate. And I got to go.
This was the mid-90s, right? Mid-90s.
Oh, no. Even earlier than that, like 80s. Because
okay. Yeah, because you joined by the mid-90s. So
yeah. 80s. 80s. So
wow.
because I was still a boy, but
right.
And when I saw that, because I'd been doing point classes for a little bit by that time, and I thought, this is it. Yeah.
Brain exploded.
Yeah. I was like, are you kidding me? After being told all this time, boys don't dance.
Yeah.
Yes, the comedic thing, but that was all I needed. I didn't care about whether it was comedy or not. It was just like, there. So take that. What do you think of that?
That's me. I'm on my way. That's incredible. Now, now in your career with the Chalks, which is now what, 25?
Well, my very first performance was November 17th of 1995 at the Danny Kaye Theater. So in November this year, after November, I will have completed a full
24 years. So you'll be into your 25th year. So I'm pretty sure if you're watching this and you're a fan of the Chalks, you have seen Bobby in every iteration of every role that we have in the company. But because he has them all, most of them has been staged on him. What would you say, if you were to name one, what would be your favorite piece of the jockstrap of stuff that you have performed? Like a favorite role that you've done? I have my favorites of yours, but I want to know what yours is.
Oh, wow. Maybe we can go through the Rolodex.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that one, or that one.
I can't really pick one, but I think the one that speaks to my soul more than others is Paquita. I just connected with that. I've had decent, ballet training, but working with Elena to learn that style and to go that extreme. I mean, in the beginning, it was like, oh my God, what is this going on? Because it was extremely difficult to kind of begin. And then I just remember one day, as I'm wont to do, she was coming for rehearsal and we were going over what we had learned the day before with whatever it was she had shown us. I was mocking her and I didn't hear her come in. I'm, doing all the, and she said, that's what I've been asking for. So I was just like,
so when you think you're exaggerating, that's exactly what you need to be doing.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, fine then. And so that's, that was the beginning of, that's when it clicked for me. I think that if you see, since I did the role so many times. For many years, you'll see that there's a difference in most of those performances because I think it correlates with my personal maturity and my experience. And you see an evolution within those. I think that's kind of interesting to look at.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, when I watch you, because I've seen you over in all this time do so many different roles that you're frankly incredible at. I enjoy you more in the bravura stuff. So I enjoy you so much in Paquita, but I also enjoy you in like a Grand Pas Classique or a Don Q. Do you consider yourself more of a bravura dancer in that like sharpness of style? Or
I'll definitely just say that I like that fiery feeling of it. I like, for me, because I like to have the most polished technique as possible. And I've always believed if you're going to do something, do it right. And but yeah, and I like that fast, sharp, solid.
I mean, we like what we're good at too, and it's like it comes so naturally to you. I mean, you do a swan and the dying swan just as great, but those styles just like they're in your soul, so it just comes.
Right. I have a very quick reaction reflex, and you know, it works for those roles. But I also, as I've gotten older, have loved to try to find the balance and almost a nuance of, even with all that quick fiery movement, finding a smoothness within it that kind of, you know, uh, and and shakes it up a little bit. But you know,
I mean, that's what dancing is, right? That's what dancing was. The beauty of it. Now, what's the least favorite piece that you've ever performed with the Trocks? You can say it.
I can say it. I can say it. I wasn't a very big fan of doing the God, I can't remember the name of it because that's how much I didn't care for it. No, I didn't think that anything was that bad.
Just that you didn't necessarily
Parisienne, because I did all those roles. But it was not for the roles themselves. It was just the ballet.
Yeah.
I just didn't care for the setting of it.
Yeah. It just felt like it was a filler in terms of
storyline. Yeah. It was just kind of silly. And it, you know.
It's funny though, because sometimes you feel that way about it, but then you hear the audience reaction and they're loving that particular ballet, and you're just like, really? Are they seeing something we're missing? You know?
Yeah. It was like the first time when we were doing musicians for patterns, I thought, this is so crazy. I feel so stupid. But okay, make some noise, do this and this and that. But now, oh my gosh, I enjoy it. Especially like when Rafa and I used to do it, because we did it together for so long. And we had like a little, you know, we had our own little jokes and stuff, but it feds off of our personal relationship energy that we had. So it was just funny. It was like two of us just taking the piss, if you will.
Right. You know, if you had to narrow, I mean, this is a loaded question, but if you have to narrow all of your experiences as a performer, as an artist, within your career in the Trocks, what would you say is the single best thing about actually being a Trock? Only you can answer this question. You know what I mean? Like, I can't ask this to someone that has been in the company for a year. I have to ask this for somebody that's been in that arc over 20 plus years. What's the best thing about being a Trock today for you still?
Without a doubt, I say it in almost every interview that I get asked this kind of question, which couldn't be very like broad and expansive if we wanted to digress. But to sum it up and succinctly, I would just say the absolute freedom to be myself and the artist that I want to be. And I don't think that within an organized institution such as ours, or a dance company, yes, we have in the modern contemporary side people that are allowed to kind of things, but even then it seems like a lot of the times, because the focus is more on the choreography and the artist's vision of what the design they want, no one gets to show their true personality. We get that, along with being allowed to be the artist that we are, instead of being shoved, you know, into a square, shoved into it. So
so your experience over 2 decades has been that fulfilling as an artist, that you've done
fulfilling. And for a little black boy from the South, I have seen and experienced things and met people that I never would have dreamed.
Yeah.
I never would have dreamed.
Yeah. You know, like for anyone, I mean, that's like an incredible opportunity, regardless of background. You know?
So, you know,
After 25 years of being with the company, if you were to travel back in time and have like a young Bobby joining the company, what have you gained in terms of maturity? Is there anything that you would say? Is there anything you would say to that young Bobby now that you?
How much time we got? No. How much time we got?
Sit back, girl.
Right. No, I think I would just tell him that even at times when it might seem that things, the people and the circumstances and situations within this company life that we live might seem like they're against you. More often than not, they are for you. So, and to be more patient and to listen, and to just, understand that other people always have their own internal struggles that you're not aware of. So you have to be mindful in those situations, especially in a group like ours that is so intimate, because we're like a family, since we're always
Together.
clustered together. So
Yeah.
that's
I think it's really neat that you, even though you tell me that that's what you would say to a young Bobby, I think you're aware of it, but I see it as really amazing that you actually have the opportunity to do that, because you have been in a company for a long period of time. You started very young, and now you have guys in the company that are the age that you were when you joined.
And so I see myself in different situations almost every day.
And I see you giving them that kind of advice, right? That you kind of go like, you didn't follow that advice. And it's like, yeah, but I learned from that. So listen to me. You're going to thank me. Like,
yeah.
So,
well, I remember when you did this, but this is why I'm hoping, listen.
Yeah.
There are situations that every individual on this earth is going to experience no matter what we do. There is always going to be the bucket of crap that someone's going to fall in, and there's going to have to, because the universe is saying it's necessary for that to happen. And so no amount of warning is going to tell this person it's coming, in their mind, and make them pay attention. They have to experience it the hard way in some cases. But
they don't always listen. You try, but they don't always listen.
Yeah, right. But I feel like, there's so much that the time that I joined the company, it was a lot more mixed age-wise, because there were a lot of older dancers, because it was still filtering out of older dancers who had already had extensive careers elsewhere. And experience, and were trying to extend their career without the pressures of conventional companies, with spread it up. They could still have fun and enjoy it while they're still able to do it, until it kind of switched over, and now we have basically have babies that could be my children coming into the company.
You feel very much that way towards them, So
right, I do. I get kind of a paternal kind of feeling sometimes in situations with them. But yeah, so we have become a career choice. But there are a lot of people that I wish had pulled me aside to tell me those certain gems that I like to drop on these guys once in a while when I see things, because I want to help them avoid discomfort, if they continue in the direction they're going, when I see it, because I've been there.
Experienced it yourself.
And I wasn't given, not many people, for whatever reason, I'm not going to claim
they
to
were
know
probably
what was
not
in
even in that place themselves. Maybe those people weren't in that place themselves.
Well, but what I'm saying, I'm not going to purport to understand what was in their mindsets at that time. I just wish that there were a lot of people that were very friendly and took me under their wing in a lot of ways, but not a lot of the times did they really give me that solid advice that I may have needed at that time. So if I see it now, I try to do it, but it's all in the approach too. There's no downing them and trying to get them to see something. You don't have to do that.
Right. That was words of wisdom from Olga Supphozova, everyone. Bobby, thank you so much for giving us the time to chat. I do want to ask you one last question, as again, maybe a little loaded, but in your farewell, what would you like to say to people right now that a lot of them are watching our YouTube channel because they have the time to do so, and they're going through.
And they need a little distraction from the
news. So what would be your final thoughts for people right now?
I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say the symbolism of what's happening globally cannot be more of an indicator enough of what we need to do. I think it's a cue for our collective social consciousness. The virus is indiscriminate, and it did not care if you were Chinese, where it was purported to have started, whether you're Italian, whether you're Canadian, American, black, white, green, yellow. It doesn't matter. It was a danger and is a danger to us all. We need to switch that concept around and dealing with our racism issue and apply that same principle to each other like the virus, except we have to use it in a way of love. And that's all that's how I see it.
Well, we can't follow that. I mean, that if there's a mantra to live your life by, listen to it now. Yeah, indeed. I mean, we have to share love the same way, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and unfortunately, I think things are going to get a little bit worse before they get better. But we all have to be positive and try to do our part to stay positive and promote positivity as opposed to tearing each other down.
I agree. I agree. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Bob, for being here. As we sign off, we want to tell you two more things. Remember that cancellations and closures because of the pandemic and the state of the world right now have put a halt to performing artists everywhere. If you feel like it's within your powers to do so, please donate to the company. The information is below. www.trockadero.org/donate. You can follow Bobby on his Insta. I wrote it on the picture earlier. You can follow us on our Insta. And I'm going to sign off sharing a little bit of that favorite footage of mine of Bobby doing tequila. So watch it till the end. It's pretty short, everyone. Thank you very much. Bye, Bobby.
Bye-bye, everybody.